All right. In this video, I want to talk about bigots. And I can talk about bigots because it takes one to know one. At least that's what I've been told, is that I'm a bigot. Well, anyway, what I actually want to do in this video is vent about a conversation I was having. A family member recently posted a meme about a child coming out as trans at school, and that it's wrong for teachers to notify the parents as if they have a right to know, because the parents don't have a right to know, and implied a bit about having a law not informing the parents, right? And I was like, you know what, I gotta say something about this. So I commented talking about how I would want to know if my child was trans. That you shouldn't keep this information away from parents. Parents have the right to know, and they should know, and I would want to know, and I hope you would want to know, right? But they were gung-ho that this is wrong. This is wrong. They were saying that if they told the parents that their child was trans, the parents could become abusive. They could become abusive, and the child might also end up killing themselves. And I was like, oh, this is strange. So I talked to him about it and said, that's strange because if the child has ADHD, is bipolar, schizophrenic, uh, depressed, any of these issues, right? You notify the parents. If the child's coming out saying strange things, you notify the parents. If the child's having bad grades, you notify the parents. If the child is caught smoking in the bathroom, if they are bullying other students, uh, making obscene jokes, using cuss words, doing all these different things, what do? You notify the parents, right? Because it's the parents' rights to know, and it's the parents' obligation to either punish them, reprimand them, correct them, whatever it may be, right? Or just to deal with the issue. And if they deal with it in their way, you have no right to butt in on that, right? I mean, the parents made the child out of their own genetics, right? They carried him in the womb for 9 months, went through the pain of bringing them into the world. Then they clothe them and feed them and shelter them and change their diapers and take care of them when they're crying. And as they get older, dealing with them with nightmares and their boo-boos, and when they get sick, and dealing with them with all these different issues, because it's their child. They care about them and they're close to them. Yet all of a sudden, when they're at school and they're saying that they're trans, you keep that from the parents because you're protecting the child. Because that parent might become abusive or that child might kill themselves. This is no, you're just hiding behind that guise, right? Because you don't really give two shits about that child. You're not going to adopt that child. You're not going to take that child in. You're not going to feed them, clothe them, shelter them, take care of them as if they're your own child, deal with them with their nightmares and their boo-boos and all their issues. No, you're not going to do all that. You're not going to be a parent to them. But you want to cut them off from their parents once they say that they're trans, under this guise that they could be abused or they might kill themselves, right? And it's just silly because when you report to the parents that the child's been a bully, been smoking, has bad grades, may have all these other issues going on, the parents still could become abusive, but you still tell the parents when it has to deal with that. So why is it all of a sudden different when it comes to them being trans? All of a sudden you have to protect them. All of a sudden you give a shit about protecting these children from these supposedly abusive parents. No, you don't really care. It's just all of a sudden with this one topic, you decide to pretend that you give a shit. You want to take them on as your own children, but not really. Not really as if your own children. You just want to give off that impression, right? And they make it seem as though if they do tell the parents, there's a good chance they're going to go kill themselves, when they could kill themselves even though you don't tell the parents because of what they're dealing with in their own mind, what they're dealing with from their schoolmates, from what they're dealing with their parents not knowing and having their parents being able to talk with them about it and go through it with them, right? They don't have that comfort at home, right? They got some stranger at school trying to act as their parent who just has to deal with them because they're getting paid to do so at school, right? I mean, that could cause them to kill themselves as well. Not to mention, in the conversation, I would bring up that a lot of these children that you actually promote to be trans and actually go through the transition from going from male to female or from female to male, that you can check this out. Like, you can go on TikTok and see a lot of these people's testimonies about how they wish they never transitioned, that they hate it. And a lot of them end up killing themselves. So this whole time you're trying to protect the child from killing themselves and from abusive parents, that you are basically doing pre-crime, right? You're trying to say that we think they might, so we're just going to assume that they're going to be abusive, so we're just going to protect the child. So you're basically racially profiling and saying that they're going to commit a crime before they do it, so we got to arrest them, right? You're basically having that same mentality. And encouraging them with this whole trans thing, you're actually, in a way, abusing them yourself, right? You're not letting their parents talk with them about them. You don't really know this child like their parents do, like their family does. And you're supposedly going to get to them and bring them along, and eventually they may not go through this transition, right? In which a lot of these people regret it and a lot of them kill themselves. But the whole point of you doing this was to keep them from killing themselves, right? And yeah, these people were acting like they're heroes, protecting these children, when children have a developing mind. They can't make these kind of decisions to say that they are not a boy or not a girl, or that they are a boy or are a girl. They don't have that mindset. They don't have that ability to do so. They don't know what's going on. They're being taught things. That's why they're going to school to learn things. And it was strange because these people were saying that the parents could manipulate them, and talked about these children being manipulated into different things. But the one thing they can't be manipulated into is being trans. Like, for some reason that can't happen. Like, you cannot manipulate a child who's a boy into thinking that he's a girl, or that's a girl into thinking that they're a boy, when you certainly can. Right? That's just silly. You can manipulate the children, just like the atheist would say that the religious indoctrinate their children and manipulate them into thinking that there is a God that they believe doesn't exist and a hell that they believe doesn't exist. But they manipulate them into believing it, right? That's what they think that they're doing with children. But you can't manipulate them into thinking that there's something they're not, right? So you can see, like, it's contradicting. It's just ridiculous. Like, everything they were saying, it had so many, what's a good word to use? It was just, it had so many contradictions. It had so many flip-flopping hypocrisies, because they were saying at times, oh, well, just because people who transition from male to female or female to male may kill themselves. Not all of them do, so that doesn't mean you shouldn't allow them to do it. And he was like, well, if that's the same thing, if that's how it is, it's the same thing when you are actually going to tell the parents about a child saying that they're trans. Not all of them are going to kill themselves, so it's not wrong to tell the parents. I mean, you're just making an excuse to cut them off from their parents and to separate the parents from the children. You're butting in where you don't belong, acting like you're a hero, right? When you're not. You're just butting in where you don't belong. And yeah, I just think it's strange that a lot of these people that are on this side are either not married or they don't have children, right? So they're not even in the discussion of having children, yet alone have children. Yet they're very gung-ho about cutting other parents off from their children when they themselves don't have children. Not saying none of them do, just saying a lot of them. The ones I was talking to don't. Yet they feel they can butt in and say it's all right to cut people off from their parents and parents off from their children. I don't know where they think they got this right, but they think they got it. And it's just ridiculous, especially with how the community with what they were defending, because what they were saying, how they were calling me a bigot, is because I was saying that a parent has the right to know what's going on with their children, and what's going on with their children should not be kept from their parents. And they said that that's an attack on the LGBT community, it's an attack on trans, and I'm a bigot. Nothing I said is bigotry or attack on anybody. You can go back even in this video. Never attacked anybody. Just saying parents and children should not be disconnected, and what's going on with the children should be shared with the parents. It's their right, and it's their responsibility, not anyone else's. I even had somebody who was semi-reasonable come in and say that, well, what if you know the parent is abusive? And I was like, still, you have no right to keep that information. Like, even if you know the parent's going to whoop the shit out of his son for smoking in the bathroom or bullying another kid, doesn't mean you don't tell the parent. That is none of your business. And I had to make the analogy to countries, right? Because you can say that the government is like the father, the parenthood, right? Over the nation. And I was given the analogy saying, okay, let's say Russia and China go, hey, we don't like how the US is treating their children, their citizens. Let's go over there and do something about it, right? You would think, hey, no, you piss off, you leave my parents alone, and yeah, you have no right to come over here. Just like you should think it's the same thing with the United States. It has no right to go butt in with other countries and how they run things, right? You're going into that family and you're disrupting it and you're taking charge, right? I mean, you're not taking care of those children. You don't want to take care of those children or those citizens. So why don't you just butt out, right? You don't want them butting into your family and your life. So why are you butting into other people's? And the analogy here, family, country, the parents, the government, the children, the citizens, right? Just making that analogy there. Just in case you weren't able to follow along, I give you a little blueprint there. Not trying to be condescending with that, but there's a lot of trolls who will take any little thing and try to twist it up. So if you're not super clear and precise, they'll just have a field day with that and focus on that and ignore the actual subject. Basically, like in this conversation I was having, a lot of it they were trying to just turn into saying that I'm a bigot and get me to defend myself about how I'm not a bigot. But they couldn't even prove I was a bigot. I was asking them, hey, show me. Show me what I said that was attacking anybody in this conversation. And there's nothing because I haven't attacked anybody. I haven't said anything about the LGBT, haven't said anything about trans people, haven't said anything about them at all. I don't have anything to say about them. What I'm saying is parents have a right to know what's going on with their children, and that information that's going on with the children should not be kept from the parents. That's the subject, that's the topic. There's nothing bigotry about that. There's nothing hateful about that. There's nothing that's attacking anybody about this. Yet, these same people who are all defensive about something that's not even being attacked were very quick to be calling me, like I said, saying I'm attacking them, calling me a bigot, calling me a moron, calling me an asshole, and all these different things. And all while they're attacking me with all these names and false accusations, I'm the one that's doing the attacking and being a bigot. When all I'm saying is I want to know what's going on with my children, then that information should not be kept from me. That somehow makes me an evil bigot. It's just strange. But I just wanted to make a video about it and put my 2 cents out there. Uh, might go into detail about it later, depending on how it goes. But yeah, that is about that. I think I got it all off my chest. Thanks for watching. Take care.